My name is Reverend Dr. Adrian Smith. I am the senior pastor of the Calvary, Grace Hill, and Full Neck congregations. I am also the spiritual advisor, one of the spiritual advisors to the Cabinet of Barbados. I have been in ministry just over 21 years, having served 11 years in Antigua and 10 years back here in Barbados. I got into ministry through my mother. She was a Moravian and would have instilled in me a number of values, brought me up in the Moravian church. My grandmother was a choir director for the Nazarene Church in Newberry. And then my grandfather went to the Anglican Church, and by extension, I went to St. Jude's Anglican Church. So I had a spiritual formation and being exposed to all three denominations. So I always had an interest in God, an interest in serving God, an interest in doing things. So I was involved in recitations, drama productions, being a youth representative, serving in all the areas of the church as I grew up. And then I felt the call of God to come into ministry. But I wanted to be an engineer, so I kind of pursued that path, running away from the call of God. But as we all know, we can run from God, but you can't hide. And so eventually, I experienced a life-changing moment in a car accident that caused me to really consider that I needed to surrender to God. And I did that. And now I'm here, 4 years in Jamaica studying at the United Theological College of the West Indies, and now serving in ministry. I've been asked to be a spiritual advisor to the Cabinet of Barbados. And the role of spiritual advisor is a tremendous, awesome responsibility of journeying with those persons who are public elected officials. So often persons just look at elected officials in terms of their positions and what they can do for them. There's so much pressure externally and internally. And so being a spiritual advisor is really to journey, to guide, to counsel, to walk with them as they are looking at all the issues of the nation. It is a position of trust. It is a position not to dictate or demand, but really to serve as an alternative perspective dealing with the individuals. So my role is one of journeying with the individuals, being there for them, helping them to remain conscious of their humanity while they're dealing with all of these significant extremely important issues of the nation, recognizing that they have a space in which they can journey, wrestle, be vulnerable, be human, but at the same time try to meet the demands of leadership. So serving as a spiritual advisor is really to walk with leadership through all the challenges that they face in leading the nation of Barbados.
Want to be in the medicinal cannabis industry? Then it is important to know your numbers. There are 8 licenses, all of which are for 5 years. 2 of those licenses come with tiers. Cultivation has 4, processor has 3. Don't have the money to pay upfront? Then the 60-40 payment plan is the number to know. 60% of the total application fee upfront, with the 40% paid in the first 3 years of the 5-year license. Pay your way either annually, quarterly, or monthly. For more information, visit our website at www.bmcla.bb.
As I serve as a spiritual advisor, I don't think that there is a blurring of the lines between the church and the government, or the church and politics. Throughout history, there's always been the presence of spiritual guidance to kings, to leaders throughout. And it's about recognizing that you have a voice, a prophetic voice, but not just a prophetic voice, we also have a pastoral priestly voice. And I think at times the nation needs to hear that, and our leaders need to hear that. So taking on 2 spiritual advisors allows for the government to have real-time guidance, real-time direction in a way that helps them to navigate some of these challenging waters that they're faced with. So I see that as a plus and not a distraction. I see it as a benefit and not necessarily something that impedes government capacity to function, because we're not really the mouthpiece of government. We're simply here offering guidance to the individuals who hold the office at this time. So as we have leaders, and as the government leads, one of the things that the Lord has impressed upon me is to help persons understand that there will always be crises that we face. And so over the last couple of years, the government, and certainly myself as one of the spiritual leaders in this country, we had to deal with one of the most impactful crises we have seen this time around, COVID-19. And while we were dealing with this, God inspired me to write a book, because there were persons who were responding to me saying, your sermons were impactful, because we were streaming before COVID. So when COVID hit, we became one of the YouTube channels that persons would watch, or Facebook. And there were a number of non-Christians who were reaching out to me saying, Reverend Smith, your words have been helpful. You've been helping me to navigate. And then one day a lady said to me, Reverend Smith, not everybody's on YouTube. Not everybody's on Facebook. You need to put that in a format to help those who are not on those platforms. And as she said it, it just registered in my spirit. And so I wrote my first book, Faith in the Crisis. It is just to help persons understand that there's hope no matter what crisis you face, whether that is death, loss, financial, emotional, mental. Even if you're still wrestling with the effects of COVID-19, there are 3 chapters in the book to help you navigate the effects of COVID-19. So I want to encourage everybody, whatever you're going through, whatever the challenge is, remember that God is for you, and God will help you navigate the crises of life. I believe it's important then, as we navigate the crises of life, to always remember, as Barbadians, we are a community. We are a society that is built on community, and in community, we have to always look out for each other. So as we talk about faith, faith is not just spoken, it is lived out. So let's live out our faith, taking care of each other, checking in on each other, pushing each other to be the best and to do the best. So it's about faith in crisis, but it's also about trusting the God of the ages. Our anthem puts it best. The Lord has been the people's guide, and God remains the people guide. So I would just implore everyone listening to the sound of my voice, just continue to trust God, for God will lead us and God will take care of us.